We keep talking about the possibility of the San Francisco 49ers making a major move, a splash move at some point this offseason to really improve the roster. So coming up on today's 49ers Report, could San Francisco trade for a cornerback, and what the Kansas City Chiefs Tennessee Titans L'Jarius Sneed trade means for the Niners' pursuit of a cornerback this offseason. You take a look at those trade details. Some people might be surprised by the lack of value that the Kansas City Chiefs got back. 2025 third-round pick, a 2024 seventh-round pick. But here's really where the value enters the conversation. It's the contract that the Tennessee Titans had to give L'Jarius Sneed because the Kansas City Chiefs were not going to be able to pay that money. They want to give a contract to a Nicholas Bolton. They're paying big-time dollars to Patrick Mahomes as well as Chris Jones. They have a couple of other young players who they're going to want to extend. So that's great trade value for L'Jarius Sneed for the Tennessee Titans because they didn't have to give up a lot for a player who was a borderline All-Pro this past year. But $19 million per year is crazy money for any cornerback, especially a cornerback like L'Jarius Sneed, who really has one elite year of production. He could be a late bloomer, starting to round into form. He's ascending, but either way, there are some medical concerns with a potential knee injury, which may have scared a lot of teams away from making a trade, and 19 mil per is 19 mil per. So while the Titans didn't give up that much, they're giving him a boatload of cash on that contract extension. Kansas City saw that. They gave him the franchise tag, but they're like, we can't give you $19 million average annual value for a contract extension, so we're going to send you somewhere to an organization that can afford that money. And keep this in mind, that trades and free agency deals really set the value across the NFL for the moves that other teams are trying to make. For instance, teams see what the terms were of the L'Jarius Sneed trade, which we just popped up, and that kind of sets the market for other potential cornerback deals that could be made by other clubs across the NFL. So with that, that brings up the idea that we've talked about. Let's allow it to reemerge, a Patrick Surtain trade. For the San Francisco 49ers here, the trade might not cost a ton. But if L'Jarius Sneed is getting $19 million per year, the 49ers, in acquiring Patrick Surtain, would not only have to give him an extension, the going rate for Surtain per year is probably going to start at about $20 million per year. And keep in mind, that's also what Denzel Ward is getting from the Cleveland Browns, who we're about to talk about. And I'd say that Patrick Surtain is the better player than Denzel Ward. And Surtain is also a young player still at this point in his NFL career who just completed year 3. For Sneed and what he did this past year, made some terrific big plays and some big-time moments, and he was so consistent under defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. 52% was the completion rate when he was targeted. 0 touchdowns in coverage. That's awesome. 14 pass breakups, 2 picks, and a quarterback rating of 55.9. But when I say really he has that one outstanding year of production, he was also really good in 2022, but this past year was really the first time where full-time he played on the outside. And while a lot of slot nickel corners are starting to make a lot more money from the inside, the money is to be made when you're an outside corner because you make big-time dollars when you're locking down big-time wide receiver. So last year, for sure, a good one for Sneed with those 108 tackles, 5 TFLs, 11 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions in 2022. But we really saw Sneed emerge and his name have a lot more value this past year because he was primarily playing on the outside. So the 49ers trade offer for Patrick Surtain could be something in that range of L'Jarius Sneed. Broncos fans have reached out to me saying, Chase, there's no way that you're going to get Patrick Surtain for anything less than a first-round pick. I would be very, very surprised if a team parted ways with a first-round selection for a cornerback. But the extension and again, that's an important part of this conversation, would be very hefty. Surtain's career numbers up to this point, he's already been an excellent player in this league with a lot of accolades. His dad played in the league as well, so the family pedigree certainly there. But really, since coming out of Alabama, Patrick Surtain, first-team All-Pro in 2022 and a two-time Pro Bowler in 2022-2023, 187 tackles, 7 picks, 36 pass breakups in 3 seasons, and only 1 touchdown given up in coverage. Spectacular numbers right there. So for me, the going rate for the contract extension that Surtain would get would just start at $20 million per year, which is what I think would take it out of the price range for San Francisco. But keep in mind, Mooney Ward going to be a free agent after this upcoming season. He's making $14 million per. Do you pair them up together this year? Ward walks next year, and then you have Surtain and you have Diamador Lenore, let's say, as your outside corners in 2025, and that could be a part of the tough financial decisions that the Niners might have to make this offseason. Coming up next, we're only getting started. We put the key in the ignition. We turn the car on. We got going on the highway. We're still on cruise control, though. Stay tuned for another cornerback trade target who could be had for a little bit cheaper as far as the trade goes and the contract goes. First, today's 49ers Report sponsored by PrizePicks, the #1 and the largest independently run daily fantasy sports app in North America. PrizePicks really makes daily fantasy sports very easy. You also get a $100 deposit match at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Producer Chip and I, we love their more or less game. You pick 2 or more players, more or less on the projected stat lines, and here's how the game works. Domantas Sabonis and Tyrese Maxey. As the Philadelphia 76ers play the Sacramento Kings, all those 2 players have to do is combined for more than 13.5 assists. I like that. In fact, I love it. Luka Doncic and Caitlin Clark, 2 bucket getters, more than 65.5 points. And then Bradley Beal, more than 6 assists. You go more on all of that, have an opportunity at a big payday. Win big-time money with PrizePicks and withdraw your winnings all within the app. Pick more, pick less, pick PrizePicks and their $100 deposit match. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Next up, are the 49ers a fit for Denzel Ward? A lot of trade speculation around him this offseason. That was the same instance last offseason as well when there was some trade speculation a year ago. And San Francisco has been named as a team to watch for a potential Denzel Ward suitor. His coverage grades and pass breakups year by year since being a top 5 pick out of Ohio State, number 4 overall back in the 2018 draft. Coverage grades to the left, PBUs obviously as listed to the right. 2018 rookie campaign, very good player. Immediate impact guy. 83.6 with 6 pass breakups. 2019, 72.7, 9 pass breakups. 2020, 76.4, 10 pass breakups. 2021, 75.9, 6 pass breakups. 2022, Denzel Ward did not like how he was utilized in Joe Woods' defense. 60.4, 7 pass breakups. And then in 2023, he rebounded under new defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Coverage grade of 69.8 and 9 pass breakups as he was named a Pro Bowler. And Ward certainly has a nice little resume here. 4th overall pick out of Ohio State. I don't love the idea of drafting corners in the top 5. Jeff Okudah didn't work out for Detroit. He's already left there. He got traded to Atlanta for basically nothing. Now he's with the Houston Texans. We'll see what he can do under DeMeco Ryans. But 4th overall pick for Ward goes to show you that he was an accomplished player with the Buckeyes playing in the Big Ten. Had a really good combine in Indianapolis when he clocked a 4.3 40-yard dash. And he's been to 3 Pro Bowls. 18, 21, and 2023. Solid size at that corner position as well. Checking in at 5'11", $190. Here's what the 33rd team had to say about Ward as well as his fit for San Francisco. Greg Newsome II, the Cleveland Browns 2021 first-round pick, was involved in trade rumors last offseason when it was reported he wanted to trade following the displeasure in his role in Joe Woods' defense. A lot of Browns players had issues with Joe Woods, by the way. Jim Schwartz took over as defensive coordinator. The Browns had one of the league's best defenses, and Newsome had more success in coverage with 14 pass breakups. San Francisco 49ers could use another cornerback opposite of L'Jarius Ward. Diamador Lenore and Ambry Thomas were average when out there in 2023 as the Niners cycled through players on the outside. San Francisco could work to load up some contracts while taking advantage of Brock Purdy's 7th-round picks and those contracts while it lasts. And Denzel Ward, now involved in some of these trade discussions here, he is under contract through 2027. He signed a 5-year, $100 million contract. So he's making $1 million more than L'Jarius Sneed. You have a little bit of team security if you pull off this move because he's under contract through 2027, and you have Greg Newsome involved in trade conversations. You have Denzel Ward now involved in some trade conversations as well. And it's all interesting because that Browns defense is loaded. They can afford to probably get rid of a cornerback on that roster because they're so stacked at really all three levels of that defense. Defensive line, linebacker, corner, and then, of course, safety is a part of that third level. And Denzel Ward, a player of that caliber, he could play outside opposite of a L'Jarius Ward, and then that keeps Diamador Lenore on the inside where after he made that switch from outside to the slot last year and Steve Wilkes, Kyle Shanahan decided to go with Ambry Thomas on the outside, Demo was awesome in the slot. And I love the versatility that he brings you. He's so gifted. He could play inside, outside, so good at both positions. This allows you to just have a better overall secondary with Ward, Mooney Ward, Denzel Ward. You go Ward squared, and then you have Diamador Lenore on the inside. A lot of tongue twisters talking about those three cornerbacks, all with those types of names there. And then you have a little bit of flexibility as well with your roster construction and the financials here because Mooney Ward's contract is expiring at the end of 2024. So again, you could have Denzel Ward, L'Jarius Ward on the outside for this year. You let L'Jarius Ward walk, and then maybe you extend Diamador Lenore. He moves to the outside. You have Lenore and Ward, and then you find somebody for that slot role because, again, Lenore has proven that he could play on the inside and have success there. Because Ward, and we're talking Denzel Ward, already got paid, already gave him a contract. I wonder how that impacts a potential trade offer from the Niners or another team across the National Football League here because the details of that L'Jarius Sneed trade were impacted in a way by the Tennessee Titans having to trade for him and give up capital in order to appease the Chiefs to make that deal, but also Kansas City and Tennessee knew that a contract extension would have to come, and that would have to be on the horizon as well upon the completion of that move. So pick a cornerback you would rather trade for. Patrick Surtain, Denzel Ward, two elite corners in this league who are accomplished. Join the conversation down in the comment section, and as always, thanks for watching the show.